Welcome. At the request of all people, Brown's Magic, I am doing a video. And this is going to be the third installment in the X is not a good person series. A series that I did not start for filler. No filler on this channel. I don't do that here. I make academic content about literature. And that's what we're doing today. So I didn't make this up simply to fill my channel ranting about the sins of various characters. No, I made this specifically for a very specific reason. I made this because the fandom is so divided they cannot see the other person's flaws. I saw that there was this moment on Reddit where there was a meme. And there was a meme about Armin, and it was like, and it set up things about Armin, and it said, Armin's a good person. And then on the Flock meme, the Jaegers responded the other way around, and they're like, oh, Flock's a good person, and Armin's a cock. Right? And it just baffled me. I'm like, this is ridiculous. No, you're both wrong. You're both bad people. It's ridiculous. And among other things. But that really stuck out to me. And so I made this for three reasons. Number one, for that, so the other side can see you actually have some pretty repugnant characters here. Number two, I made it so that people would understand. There's no heroes in Attack on Titan. There's no cringe avengers. There's no hero saves the day. I keep trying to explain this to people. People are having a hard time understanding this. No, that's not how it is. And number three, particularly for this episode, and to balance it out, I'll do it for a Jaegerist. Okay, I'll do it for the bad side, the other side. To this video in particular, I'm going to talk about how you can become this person. One of the things that Attack on Titan is that there's a monster inside everyone. Funny enough, there's also the plot of turning red. Moving along, however, this is something Isayama said himself. As he was writing Eren, he began to go scared of himself because he saw himself in Eren. Now, which is funny because I remember, because if you're an OG Attack on Titan fan, you were reading interviews for years. I remember reading interviews where he was saying, "Oh, it's hard to write Eren because he's so different from me." Now he's saying I'm seeing a lot of myself in Eren, right? So, kind of funny. It's actually kind of cool to see that played in real time. So that's the lesson here. One of the many things in Attack on Titan, I have so many things, one of the many things in Attack on Titan is that everyone has their monsters. Not like, cute, like, oh, you might be a little bit selfish, but like, you are so morally bankrupt and so despicable, you deserve the scorn of all men. Sort of, reproach. Not approach, reproach. So, let's get into this. Now, the first thing about Annie that makes her different from the other warriors is that she saw through the propaganda. She knew what she was doing, which is why people were angry about her confession to Hitch. Now, this confession didn't catch me off guard. I was telling my brother this for years. This is going to happen. I literally told him years in advance this is going to happen because it's very quite simple. Didn't catch me by surprise at all. She said her father could call away the deals that had nothing to do with the real world. She said that she knew it was crap, yet she still went along with it. So why would she be apologetic about it? She knew what she was doing. It's like Reiner, where Reiner, was tricked and then he tricked himself. It's like Bertha, he got put into it. It's like Marcel, they got fed propaganda. It's like Gabby, where she was just spoon-fed propaganda and she believed it because, of course, she's just a child. Of course she believed it. Niggas are still believing in Santa Claus at that moment. But anyway, a moment as in her age. Anyway. She wasn't in a Gabby situation. She knew. And again, she said this. Eldians, Marlians, they're all the same. She said that explicitly. She was like 10 years old. Yet, in spite of all that, in spite of knowing, she was going across the strait to slaughter innocent people who had nothing to do with anything, who she knew, because again, they got told the backstory. If you go back and read, I think it was 116 you can read, and they mentioned the real story about Elvie and Marley, who she knew had no freaking clue what was going on. Why would someone do such a thing? Well, I'll tell you why. Her dad, who, again, remember, she has a curse of Ymir. So she only has, when she gets 7, 8, 9 years after a mission, what she's thinking. She's only having 1 year, but what she's thinking is, I'm going to have X amount of time to live with my father. Because Marley used their families as leverage against the children. She was willing to spill that much blood, what she did in parody, killing all those people, so she can be with her dad for 8, 9, 10 years. That sort of selfishness is mind-boggling. That commitment to something so selfish is insane. Most people won't even go in line in the grocery store if they see that someone behind them has less objects in them. If someone behind you has a pack of cigarettes and you have a whole cart full, most people are going to say, oh, go ahead of me. Go ahead. I have more stuff than you. That's what most people do. In fact, I'm learning how to drive. So they're talking about, they're saying, it's don't fall into your inclination to be too nice. Because if you're being too nice and start waving people to the lane, it actually holds up traffic, especially in a multi-lane, highway or road. It holds up traffic. It's a nuisance. It actually is bad. You're not being nice. But they have to tell people that, because people are normally, in certain circumstances, nice to people. But Annie's completely different. She sees someone behind her with a cigarette, and she has 2 cartfuls of stuff, and she says, I'm going to go through with it anyway. And then the store closes. but in all seriousness, that is almost sickening. Again, I have no ill will towards any of the characters, any of them, in Attack on Titan, not even Eren. But that from a regular person's perspective, just from ground level, that is extremely repulsive. What was done to the Eldians over nothing, basically nothing. 7 years with her one dad. She had one family member. So she had a big family like me. I have 7 people. But no, actually, I'm coming from a family of 9. So that is one thing. But she has one person. She literally only has a father, not a mother. She's an orphan, no friends. She's a solitude introvert. And she was so motivated by just her love for her dad for those few years that she had left, that she went and killed 250,000 people. I believe is what it was. Right? Pretty much from start to finish without hesitation. Now, again, she did have her moments. Of course she did. She's human. She did have her moments. She felt bad. She felt sorry. She was genuinely upset. And I think she was genuinely upset for the entire thing. But if you look at her actions from pretty much start, from invading the island to where she gets when she gets imprisoned by the Samurai Corps, it's just straight slaughter with little stop in between. Now, again, she did play around with Eren in the woods. But you know what happened there. Now, next, the way that she was treating Mikasa in the last arc. Now, I brought this up in the last video, of course, but she brings up so unsympathetically, and again, this is the thing that Amy has in general. She's just an unsympathetic person. You would say, oh, this is a really empathetic human being. But it reaches a particular level of height and hypocrisy in the Rumbling arc, because she knows how she feels about her dad. And she knows how many people she was willing to kill for her dad. And Annie knows for a fact how close Mikasa and Eren are. Yet, she still doesn't show the same sympathy that I would assume, would like to be shown. I assume if someone said to Annie, oh, I understand where you're going through, blah, blah, blah. I don't know for sure because this never happened. But if it did happen, oh, no, it did happen. I did. Forgot. She actually asked for forgiveness. Yes, in the last screen form, she actually asked for forgiveness. So the same kindness that she wants extended to her, she will not give it to Mikasa. She so callously brings up, we should kill Eren. Again, if you watched my last video, perfectly reasonable. Eren's doing the rumbling. They're brainstorming how to stop the rumbling. Talking about killing Eren is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. However, again, I'm focusing on the hypocrisy. She is talking about this in such a casual, unempathetic way, and then she draws her, and then she threatens to turn into a Titan and destroy the entire alliance over a pissing contest with Mikasa. And again, she can't see through the pettiness. Make sense and say, hey, I'm talking about killing her, one of her best friends. I know how close she is, and I'm gonna have to kill her. I know how I feel about my dad. But no, she decides to threaten the entire lands. And again, as I said, I picked on Mikasa in the last video. Amy's at fault too. They're both at fault. She was playing along. You know the saying. You know what your mom said to you. It takes two to tangle. Oh, if you had siblings, she said that, but it takes two to tangle. She was part of that whole thing. And instead of being a mature person who's unhypocritical, she instead decided to do that. Now, again, I translated to the viewer of all we just spoken about. You can't see yourself after being coerced by a military power with your family. You really can't put yourself in a situation where you say, you know what? I'd kill some people. I kill, like, think about, like, I'm sure lots of people who watch my channel are single, I know. But think about friends that you have. Think about those people you have that are important in your life. Not just a wife, not just a sister, brother, but anyone. Think about a military power who you have no control over. And on top of that, you're an oppressed race. So you know your family's going to be secured. They're going to be taken care of. They're going to be above the oppression. You really can't see yourself committing atrocities like that. I find that incredulous. Now, about the hypocrisy. Everyone, I even need to put yourself in that scenario because everyone has moments when they're hypocritical. Everyone has moments when they're empathetic. Everyone has moments where someone is going through something and you may have good reason to know, or you do know why, and you still go off on them anyway. It's happened to the best of us, and it'll happen to you again. But but we get to judge. We get to sit here and we get to judge Annie for what she's doing because you haven't killed anybody. You didn't swing anybody. You're just a beacon of moral virtue who would do nothing wrong. You don't like genocide. You're a good person. It's untrue. Annie's what happens when people get coerced and their families are in peril and they're forced to make decisions. Could she handle it better? Well, maybe. Maybe she couldn't, maybe she couldn't have. That's the point of Annie, though. The point of Annie is introspective, as is every other character in the show. And then moving on. When the rumbling is continuing and they're forming the alliance, she, of course, again, does the right thing for the wrong reasons. If you're an Alliance fan, that is. She decides to join the Alliance and stop the rumbling, save the people. However, her motivations for doing this have been the same from the beginning. It's all about her dad. The person who threatened her dad was Marley, now it's Aaron. And she's doing this solely for her father. Unlike Jean and other people who are going there out of selfless virtue to save the people of whose names they don't know, as they say. She's going in there purely with selfish intent. So everyone around them is a villain. And they're villains because of various things, but also because of Liberio. She sees the example of these people are showing. And yet she refuses to follow it. She's stuck in her ways. She's still going to continue to do this only for herself and her small, pathetic family. And again, I know I'm being a little bit harsh, but come on, her dad is just one person. I just can't get over the fact that this is just, her family is literally one person. Anyway, so she does this. Okay, but you know what? At least she's stopping genocide. At least she's doing a good thing. But then it realizes, oh, whoops, your dad's actually dead. Your father's actually dead. But instead of continuing to do it like she normally would, like anyone normally would, okay, continue to stop genocide. I have nothing to live for. I have literally a year left of my life and I have no family left. What am I supposed to do now? Help some people? Maybe, perhaps? No, instead, she decides, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not gonna fight anymore. I'm done fighting. I'm not gonna do anything. What are you talking about? You have a Titan. You are useful. You can provide. And again, you have a moral debt to make up, one could say. But she's gonna do it anyway. Because she's not motivated to, because her father's out of the picture. So millions of people are dying across the sea. She doesn't care. Because my dad's not part of it. My dad's already dead. Now, that is very disgusting, as one can imagine, when I'm describing it that way. However, it is still understandable why She has nothing left to fight for. There are people, as I said, she doesn't know who they are. This woman has no family, no friends. How could she bring herself to care about people who, again, they don't know the names of? They don't know the names of these people. Is that not understandable? Is it impossible for you to put yourself in that mindset and think, that's crazy? Or can you say, you know what? That's disgusting, but it kind of makes sense, right? And the reason we have the alliance, one of the reasons we have the alliance, is because the way that each side looks at the other side is how they're supposed to look at their side. So, for example, if you are an Armin fan, if you were like, oh yes, Armin's the commander of the Spirit Corps, yes, don't stop the rumbling, let's go. You were disgusted by Annie in the beginning. You're supposed to think of Armin in that same way. That's supposed to be like John about Connie, who again, like Annie herself, Annie said what Connie said in season 1. She said she was a worthless, evil person. Connie said he's irredeemable. So this, again, is supposed to bring out the fact that even the goofiest, funniest, not taking life seriously, blah, 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 could become a sick monster who slices up their friends until they're killed. That's who Connie is. I'm sorry. That's who Connie is. And you can say, well, it was for a good cause. Okay, it was for a good cause. Well, then, if it was for a good cause. In the end, same. I'm talking about Annie right now as well as I'm talking about Connie. This is for a good cause. How come we had no concessions about slaughtering these people for like 40 straight minutes? Then within the airship is a problem with it. Think, okay, you were doing it for a good cause. Okay, maybe. However, you still tore people, then tore through people. Then after the fact, you were a little bit sad about it. And on the other hand, another thing is that, again, why is it that this person, at a drop of a hat, was able to go on a murdering, not a murder spree, but a killing spree, a violent one, up close with swords, not with guns, with sword, up close. I was able to do that for an hour, or however long it was, without any hesitation, or any two. How come? Because they're evil people. Because they're evil people. But again, imagine you are in their shoes. Imagine you're in Annie's shoes. We're not talking about Connie anymore. We're talking about Annie. Imagine you're in Annie's shoes. Your dad's on the line. Your country's forcing you to do this. All that's in her head. Yet she's still so that gives her plausible deniability to go and slaughter people for however long her slaughtering spree was, without any concession whatsoever. Without any, till after the fact. It's always the Attack on Titan characters. It's always after the fact. Put yourself in the mind of having to kill somebody, even if it's for a good cause. I'm not talking about bad people. I'm talking about innocent people that you have to kill for a good cause. What sort of person would be that cares about people's lives, going through people until after the fact? Okay, that is something that is, something's especially twisted up there. But again, imagine if you're that person, as I said beforehand. You've all this going on. You're trying to accomplish a goal. There's no time to be thinking about the consequences of your actions while you're doing it. And again, Aaron said as much. He said, don't think about what's right or wrong, just kill, right? I think before or after he said, you can't hope for a horse with a happy ending. Okay, somewhere around that area when he's actually transforming to fight. Oh, who knows what Annie, right? Which again, another situation where she, just tore through a bunch of innocent people in Stoheads, and they're essentially trapped because it was a city. And then, and then when she, again, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up with Annie is that when she saves the day, right, in 138, that feeling that you get with her specifically, you're supposed to feel, and this is beforehand, but I would say it again, you're supposed to feel for the entire group of people. No one felt warm and fuzzy and happy about Annie's accomplishments. So it's like, oh, this is great. This is a triumphant hero. I keep saying there's no heroes in Attack on Titan. A lot of people have said that. There's no heroes. And you can know it logically, but to emotionally know it, emotionally think about how you felt with her specifically at the end of 139. And that's what I mean when I mean there's no heroes. Now, people say, I have to bring this up because every time I bring up any of her sins, I always have to bring this up. You can watch this video if you want to. I've made so many videos about this. Listen. Was she punished? To your liking? No. However, she's one of the few characters who actually did have a punishment. Besides Eren and Berthel. And as I said beforehand, PTSD is not a punishment. That's not a punishment, my friend. She had like over 1,000 days in solitary confinement. And we know this because we know she was awake, and she said specifically she was lonely. Okay? So, and solitary confinement is a form of torture. So she's literally tortured for over 1,000 days. Okay? Now, again, you may say, well, Beluga, that's not enough punishment. She got her dad, she got her life extended, blah, 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 blah. Okay, sure. That's fine. If you say she didn't get punished enough, I have no problems with that. That is a perfectly valid, reasonable thing to say. However, as I've said in previous videos, that goes against the entire point of the story. The entire point of the story is about forgiveness. Okay? Now, contrary to popular belief, I'm sorry, especially if Brown is watching this, most people think, oh, the way to end a cycle of violence is to kill people. If you kill everyone from the walls, then no cycle of violence. Aha! It's untrue. Actually, no human can actually just end the cycle of violence. No group of humans can end the cycle of violence. And anyone knows this. However, what you can do is you can forgive people. You can burden the sins of the past. I think I brought this up beforehand, but I have 7 siblings. So I have a younger brother, and he has an older brother. And as brothers do, we fight. So, he hits me, I hit him, he hits me. And, along the line. And again, this is a real thing that happens. And if you have brothers, you know this happens. And, along the lines of it, we forget who started, who hit who first. So Yohan hits me. Who's my brother? He's my brother. He hits me. So I'm like, oh, I hit you. You hit me, so now I have to hit you. I have to right this wrong. Only when someone stops and says, okay, you know what? You hit me. I know you hit me, and I think it's unjust for you to do that, but I'm going to ignore it. Because if I hit you, it's going to start all over again. Same thing in Chicago. How amazing would it be if after someone shot someone and made us talk about them, they didn't respond? But how difficult is that? That's extremely difficult to do. Almost superhuman, in fact. So yeah, Annie's a mass murderer. She unapologetically. But to make that leap, to forgive her, and in turn for the people who are wronged by Eldia to forgive Eldia, for that to happen, that it makes for a better tomorrow. Now, as I said, if every Chicago rapper who got their friends killed didn't make a song and didn't kill the next person, that would be everyone would think that would be amazing. That'd be awesome. Will it end the cycle of violence? No, of course not. Will it be the end of killings in Chicago? No. But it would be a great accomplishment. It would be amazing, and it would be making for a much, much better tomorrow. And that is why Annie's not punished to your liking. And that is why the cycle of violence continues to happen. Don't you understand that's how Dresden happened? Everyone who's complaining about Dresden, that's how it happened. Yeah, and you can say, well, it was Beluga, you're wrong. Dresden was innocent people. You can't punish innocent people. Annie was guilty. Stuff she deserved punishment. It's different. No, it's not. It's not different. It's the same. It's the exact same principle. It's the exact same principle. And again, it's a thing called collective punishment. That's the thing. So, and you could say, well, that's stupid. Okay, well, that's not what some people think. People think that's a form of retribution. So that logic perpetuates the cycle of violence. And again, so then Dresden gets bombed. Now it's by a multitude of factors, but it's not unreasonable to say, well, after Dresden got bombed, Germany would be angry about it, rightfully so, and then go do some terrorist attack in America. Oh, now what? So now America is going to go. You see how that works? Do you see how that works? No, that didn't happen for a fact I'm not going to talk about because this video is already going long enough. But that is why she didn't get gagged and dragged into a jail cell and tortured to death. That's why. Okay. So again, thank you for watching this video. If you're not satisfied, comment. I'll comment back. I'll make another video, whatever. If you have a video suggestion, you're always welcome to leave that. And thank you. Have a great day.